Well, hello everyone. It's Richard Kadish, Go Gated Realty, Hilton Head Island and Bluffton, South Carolina, here today on November 29th, 2016 with Paul and Debbie Newday of Hershey, Pennsylvania, here in their new Tangerly Oak model at Baynard Park in Bluffton. And I should say formally of Hershey because you all are just about to move into this new home. And how you feeling about it? It's been a long road, hasn't it?
No, we're excited.
About 6 months, I'd say, from contract to completion. Is that about right?
Probably a little bit less.
Yeah, we started.
It started in July.
In July, so
November. Yeah, it's been only 4 months.
Yeah.
about 4 months later. So it was built rather quickly, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, and of course, you know, we're having this conversation as I'm the New Day's buyer's agent for this new build. And I'd like to go back because I first met you, Paul and Debbie. It goes back a little over 2 years ago. You came into my office down on Hilton Head Island with your daughters, and we're talking about relocating to the area. And what made you think that the Hilton Head Bluffton area was going to be for you?
We vacationed here for quite a few years. We love the area. We love how the landscaping is done and how everything is kept up, and it's just a beautiful area here. And the people seem very friendly and outgoing.
And so having vacationed here, you thought, well, maybe you would relocate here, because as I recall then, one of the issues was that you weren't quite ready because Paul was still working. And so you were basically planning for your retirement. You weren't quite ready, but you were planning for your retirement. And I know you're very good planners. And Debbie, I know you're in fact really a perfectionist. And of course, that's why you married Paul, isn't it?
That's correct.
Yeah. So with your detailed planning, you decided that Hilton Head, or I guess possibly Bluffton, you really weren't sure because people vacation on Hilton Head Island, but oftentimes they retire to Bluffton. So you thought, well, maybe Bluffton would be the place for you, but you were just open and came by to talk to an agent about what the different possibilities might be for you. And then you pretty much disappeared for a couple of years. I didn't hear from you or see you again. And then I got a call earlier this year, and you said, well, you really were ready and wanted to move forward. And so I'm kind of curious, how did you find me in the first place, and what made you come back?
As we really enjoyed this area and felt that this was a good mix for us as far as retirement, we weren't sure exactly of costs and prices of homes. So I went on the internet and I brought up your website, and I really enjoyed how your website was laid out and how it gave all of the information on the homes and prices, and how you were able to look at the pictures and things of that nature. So, and as I did look at others, I kept coming back to your website. It just was very easy for me, and I just enjoyed how it was laid out. And then you had also posted a video on YouTube of exactly what a buyer's agent was, because we didn't have those back in Pennsylvania where we live. And we felt that coming into a new area and not really knowing a whole lot about the real estate, we felt that you were going to be there for us to give us the information that we needed, and that you were going to lead us through that because we really didn't want to make a mistake with this being our retirement.
So after you got up to speed on the concept of a buyer's agency, you liked that idea and decided you'd bring me on board. We had met and you were ready to go. So then earlier this year, we met again and continued the search. And at that time, you weren't really sure what community or you would like best, or if you wanted a new home or a resale home. And as I recall, you weren't really too keen on building a home at the time. It kind of maybe a scary proposition, so you're just out searching with an open mind?
Yes, just heard a lot of horror stories about building, And I'm not one that is good at visualizing exactly what something's going to look like. And so the process of building was just a little scary for me. So we really felt that we would like to get something that was already built, but my husband wanted me to have what I liked, so he was more in tune with building a home more than I was. And then when we came down, we had made an appointment with you, and when we came down, you took us to quite a few different developments, and so we were able to look and see what a gated community consisted of and what options they had. And when you brought us into Baynard Park, it was just almost immediately we felt that this was where we really wanted. We liked how the homes were positioned and the amount of property that we had, but yet not too large that we couldn't take care of it. And so all of the help that you gave us helped us choose that gated community in that development.
It also made a difference because we only had so much money per month, and we don't golf, or I don't golf, neither does my wife. So we didn't want to go into a community where we was paying $3,000 and $4,000 a year for amenities that we weren't going to use. So Baynard Park was ideal for us in that sense because the cost to stay here was so much less than some of the other communities in the area that had the golfing and had the social stuff that we normally probably would not use.
So if the financial factors all aligned for you, the annual fee wasn't too much, but you had amenities, 24-hour security gate,
Yeah.
things that were important to
It was
you.
still nice to have a pool. It was still nice to have a picnic area. It was still a lighted community to where we can walk and ride our
Sidewalks.
bicycles and sidewalks and stuff like that. But if you're not a golfer, paying an extra $3,000 to $4,000, some of them run up to
Just-
10.
It's not for everybody.
It's not for everybody.
So this community had what you wanted, and so it sounds like then you decided on Baynard Park, and at that point then, apparently you had decided that the way to go would be to build rather than buy a resale. That was a big decision right there, wasn't it?
Yes, a very big decision.
And so then we go over to the models, to the Pulte models at Sun City. That's where they're located, and that was the next choice, wasn't it? You needed to choose a lot, needed to choose a model. So, and you chose on the Tangerly Oak, didn't you?
That was, we really hadn't thought about building a home this large when we got wrapped around our heads that we were going to build. But as we walked through the different models, we started really discussing just exactly what our needs were going to be. And we felt that the 2-bedroom with the library was better than having 3 bedrooms and having a loft. We decided that we felt that with our ages, we really didn't want stairs. So we kind of changed our minds on that, and this model just fit our basic needs as to how we wanted for family coming to visit, and this model was just perfect.
It's beautiful. Well, it's yourselves and the 2 daughters back in Hershey, as I recall.
No.
No, we
You have
have
more.
5. We have 5 daughters.
5 daughters.
And I have 5 grandchildren. So
Still room enough for them, though,
yes,
when they come to visit, and you do
Yes.
expect that, don't you?
yes.
Because we're going.
So all right. So finally, then you went to contract. We went through the negotiations together. You were able to make all your selections for so many of the things that we see here in the kitchen, the upgraded appliances, the upgraded granite, the cabinets. You chose all your colors, and all of those are important decisions. But was that, with the design center that they have, that process, I'm thinking that it made it easier for you than you thought to build a new home here as an absentee too, because you were back in
Yes.
Hershey while this construction's going on, right?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
having the design center made it easier. And so how did that go for you? You're in Hershey and they're
That
building
I
here.
was very nervous about, and it was like, oh, are my choices going to be, am I going to regret what I pick out? And Jolie there at the Design Center was absolutely amazing. She helped put different things together and said, well, what about this? What about this? And she actually helped us put things in, and just from her talking to us, she more or less knew what we were wanting, and her expertise in what she does just helped make it so much easier. And she ended up was very caring, and I was so nervous about after all the selections were made, I still wasn't sure, and she came over and gave me a big hug and said, no, believe me, it's beautiful, it's going to be just absolutely what you wanted. And it is.
And it is. I'll tell you, the colors.
I wouldn't change anything of the colors or the cabinets or the flooring, the model. I mean, it's been a wonderful experience.
Well, you know, the teamwork is a concept that comes to mind for me. When I see buyers who have really good experiences, you can always go it on your own, but once you have an agent and you get a team around you and people advising you and helping you, it just doesn't cost anything more for that. I think it's the teamwork. It's you, your selections. They all came together beautifully. The end result is definitely showing excellent taste and that kind of expert advice. And I think it really turned out great. I'm very happy for you. And
well, being so far away, that was a big concern for us. But we've had videos, and Darren called us weekly, letting us know what was being done.
He's your building superintendent.
That's correct. Mm-hmm. And then it was amazing with when the hurricane came through, and you came over and checked on our home and sent us a video letting us know that we didn't have any damage or any water or
that
anything.
Must have been
and that
reassuring.
was just
yeah.
that was very reassuring. And then Pulte also, Amy,
Checked on
which
it.
is a sales consultant
Yep.
who helped us. She came over and took a video and showed us that everything was good. And Amy took videos quite frequently and showed us the process of the house and how it was coming along. And I mean, everybody with Pulte has been wonderful, and then just all the help that you have given us, Richard, is just made the whole process very easy and relieved a lot of our concerns and our worries.
Oh, that's
One
fabulous.
thing I would say to add to that was when we walked through before the drywall was put up, Darren went through with me and showed me the construction of the house and how all the strapping and how the hurricane standards were, and the termite protection, and was showing me how the house was actually built and how strong it was built and how everything was engineered. And that time, it was probably over an hour, and he went from room to room and was showing me how the rafters were and how they'd done the foundational work. And that meant a lot to me, because without a good foundation you don't have a good house. And if it's not plumb and square, no matter how pretty it is, it still isn't plumb and square. So they built a very strong house that'll withstand the rigors of what you have out here on the coastline. I wouldn't be afraid to ride out a hurricane in here. It's that kind of strength that gives you a lot of reassurance that the house is going to stand even if the bad weather comes.
I think it's very unlikely that you'll ever have to ride out a hurricane here. The one that we just had was more like a tropical storm in Bluffton, but we hadn't had a hurricane come our way since 1979, and on Hilton Head Island they hadn't even evacuated for 11 years. So I live in Bluffton. I personally didn't evacuate, and it was really just pretty much a tropical storm over this way. But it is good to know that you have a strong, well-built house around you. And And of course, I know that you're very knowledgeable about construction too. So I think in general, I mean, I'm just so happy you made great choices. And this is kind of your dream come true. You planned on this for what, 30 years to move here?
Yeah.
So what are you looking forward to the most about your retirement here in Bluffton?
Being able to be this close to the beach. He enjoys fishing, and I enjoy just sitting there listening to the waves, and I enjoy reading. Want to enjoy the fact that we can ride bikes and walk. Both of us really need to get back into shape.
Oh, okay.
But, and just one other comment that we wanted to make, and that was with us being so far away in Hershey, it was nice to know that when the walkthroughs that we couldn't be here, that you were available and that you represented us in coming through the walkthroughs. Because I know that you've done the structural walkthrough with the building supervisor, and also for the permit. And so we just weren't able to make it back for that, and it was just really nice to know that we had a buyer's agent who was going to be there to fulfill those obligations when we couldn't.
Well, that's just wonderful. I appreciate that very much, and so glad that you chose me as your agent and decided to work with me. I'm just delighted at the outcome. It's an absolutely beautiful house, and I think you're gonna, as much as I really wonder why anyone would ever move away from Hershey, Pennsylvania, I think you're gonna really like living here in Bluffton. Beautiful climate, just a wonderful place to live, and Baynard Park is beautifully located. You know, you've gotten in just before the finish here because they just have another 12 lots or so more to build on. And so your timing was just perfect, and so congratulations, and thank you very much for working with me, and I really just wish you the best in your new house. Congratulations.
Thank you.